Good morning. I am Diego Espinosa, and I am the assistant manager at Radio Lex, and you are listening to Radio Lex, the voice of the people, WLXU 93.9 LPFM in Lexington, Kentucky. I am here once more after a brief hiatus with Council Member of District 11th of Lexington, Jennifer Reynolds. Thank you very much for being with us again.
I'm so excited to be back. We had all kinds of things going on, didn't we? And it's good to be back.
Yes, a lot of fun things happening at the council. So, what's new?
Well, today I'm just going to give you a very brief update on several items. One is the Street Safety Task Force. That was formed by several council members quite a few months ago, and that they have been meeting with stakeholders and different people in the community, really with the intention of coming up with some recommendations to how to make our streets safer. We had passed the Complete Streets ordinance saying that we wanted Lexington to really encompass in our planning full complete streets, and that is for everybody. People that are walking, people that are biking, people that are in cars, people that are taking public transportation. And so this task force was formed to say, what can we do as a city to just make our streets safer for everyone? We'd had some pedestrians getting hit and some other types of accidents, and this really kind of sparked an interest to take a deeper dive. So this group conducted public engagement, and they kind of broke down their work into three main areas: engineering, education and engagement, and enforcement. So today they're going to give the full council some recommendations. That will be looking at a roundabout feasibility study, how that could make our roads safer, and things like signalized crosswalk adjustments, and then quick builds. Quick builds are kind of this thing that we've been talking about a lot. How can we quickly redo a roadway, whether that be through painting or obstacles, to make it safer? And then on the education and engagement side, we really want to focus on experimental engagement and placemaking, community champion infrastructure, and then just making sure that we have external and internal education. And these issues, a lot of times people from the public bring us suggestions, and we want to make sure that we're taking those suggestions, we're looking into them, and that we're engaging the public so that they're holding us as a city accountable. And then in terms of enforcement, we want to focus on using data analytics. I know one recommendation has to do with automated enforcement at lights for red light running. Also looking at how to better enforce no parking in our bike lanes. And then the issue that we've had with drag racing, and is there an ordinance that we could do to crack down on that? So those are just some of the recommendations that are coming out of this task force that we're going to hear about. And then we're also going to hear about next steps and how can we put these into practice and adopt them. So I just want to congratulate the task force. They've worked really hard, diligently over about the past 6 months, and I think that their suggestions are going to be ones that we'll be able to put into practice.
Yeah, that sounds very nice. I actually, just a few days ago, I almost saw a collision right here on Limestone. Somebody decided not to run a red light, and they were so close to hitting each other.
Well, on my way here this morning at Oliver Lewis and Main Street, a semi ran the red light and made a turn in front of me on red, blocking the intersection, and my light was green. It was very blatant, and yeah, I think people have just kind of lost the desire to follow the traffic laws. And enforcement has been a big topic. Some cities do use these cameras, and it's been very controversial. It's not legal in Kentucky yet, but what other way do we have? We can't have a police officer at every intersection all the time. I think it's challenging, but we need to look at all of our options.
Yes, of course. Well, now winter's coming. What are we planning to do this winter regarding like snow plan and shelters?
As you all will recall, we had a really big snowstorm and ice storm this past year, and I think it caused a lot of confusion in the public as to how our snow plan works. So, we have had a system for many, many years of rankings where we have 4 rankings in different zones. So, they go through what are the kind of the most important things that we need to clear first. So, first one is arterial roads in and out of the city, like off of Nicholasville Road, Man of War, etc. Rank 2 are major connecting streets like Loudon, Lane Allen, and the ones that connect to the bigger streets. 3 are collector routes, and those would be like Sandersville and Old Todd's Road. And then rank 4 are local residential, and those connect, are just local residential roads. What ends up happening is people think that every road in Lexington is assigned to one of those rankings. That is not the case. So there are roads that are not ranked. Those would be like the last group, and those might never get cleared because what happens is if we try to start saying we're going to clear every single road in Lexington, that would take an immense amount of resources. Most of the time, the storm is cleared quickly and those roads get cleared anyway. But, when you have an incident like we did last year where the storm went on and on and on, and those roads don't get cleared, it makes it very difficult for people. So the city said this year, what are we going to do to improve this? First of all, they're trying to communicate a little more clearly about the rankings and the routes. And some changes for this next season are there's 3 tanker trucks that will be added to our fleet for brine and additives to pre-treat when possible. This is over $1 million investment. There will be a custom blender and truck fill added to the West Hickman brine station. There will be 3 new dump trucks replacing the older vehicles. That is over $800,000. 3 additional contractor dump trucks, 8 total, to assist with neighborhood routes and vacancies. This is going to be a big uplift as well. And then we will also have a landscape contractor under contract for up to 8 trucks for service levels 2 and 3 if we need them. And then additional roads will be added to address gaps in growth. And then 3 new fully outfitted pieces of equipment and 2 additional attachments for 2 existing tractors for sidewalks and snow removal. So, first of all, just to talk about the equipment, that means we're trying to up what we have available for in our use, right? So that we can respond better. And then we've added Lex Park to the planning team. We had some issues last year where people were complaining that they were getting parking tickets during the snowstorm and that they couldn't move their car. So we've brought them in to be a part of the plan so that we can have better communication. Environmental Quality and Public Works PIO is working on examples of treatment to manage expectations and end results. Once again, improving that communication so that everybody understands and has the proper expectation. Fayette County Public Schools is supposed to provide data for current bus routes. I think that's just been a challenge to coordinate with them and having open communication. So I think we're really trying to work on improving that the best that we can. We also have informal assistance and support through the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. And then we're trying to get updated contact information across divisions from stakeholders for rapid internal communication. And the commissioner will serve as a coordinator of rapid staff relocation as needed. So that way the commissioner, if they're getting a complaint in from the public or something, they're able to deploy someone if they think that that is an area that needs to be taken care of, even though it wasn't on our original plan. There will be primary execution by the combined divisions of environmental services, parks and recreation, fire, and facilities. and over 84 miles of sidewalk service with full completion of the plan. So we can't remove the snow on all of the sidewalks, on all of the streets. It's actually the responsibility of the business owner to clear their sidewalks. But there are some streets that are not really connected as easily to private property, and they're on main roads, and we do clear some of those. And then we have a whole ranking system for those sidewalks as well. So we've really tried to up our staffing and look at people across divisions that we can use. There was a stakeholder meeting with Lexington, Fayette County Public Schools, et cetera, were invited. That was in September. Today is the update in the Environmental Quality and Public Works Committee to Council. And then it will be posted, the whole plan will be posted to the webpage on October 31st.
That really sounds like a lot of work and like a lot of coordination and a lot of really good decisions as far as I can hear. I was wondering, maybe you can't give us the list now of all the additional roads that have been added to the ranking now.
Yeah, I do not have a list of that. And I know that still we're very limited. So I don't have a list. But what will be published when the plan is published, you will be able to see on the map which roads are what rankings, and you'll be able to see that. So, for instance, what I do if we're in the middle of a snow event, I will go and I'll check and I'll say, oh, that road is having trouble, but it's not ranked. Or that road is a rank 3, so, they're just on rank 2 roads, so it'll be next. Or, oh, that's a rank 2 road. We're already on to road 3. It wasn't cleared. I need to call 311 and let them know that road wasn't cleared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's great. What about the winter shelters?
For the past 2 previous years, kind of after COVID, this is new after COVID, the city saw a need to have a additional shelter during the winter months for those that are unhoused, because they don't want people, we don't want people freezing on the streets. And we know that we have this need for extra shelter beds, and we don't have those extra shelters. So at least during the winter months when things are harshest, our Office of Homeless Prevention and Intervention has decided that we need these extra temporary beds. So we did it off of Loudoun 2 years ago. We used hotels last year, and that office decided that we really needed to be running the program ourselves, making sure that we have oversight, and that was really hard in hotels. So they said we need a location to have a temporary shelter from November 1st through April. And they looked at many, many different sites. I know myself and other council members recommended other sites around town. None of the sites that they looked at panned out. And so they decided that they wanted to have it off of Versailles Road on the property where Global Lex is and the Electronic Recycling Center. In the very back of that property, there was kind of a storage overhang. And so they decided that they wanted to contract with a company to set up everything, beds, bathrooms, everything needed in that location. That is my district, and I had a lot of residents and local businesses concerned about the location, especially because we already have a lot of social service type organizations right there in that area. So, we tried to come up with another plan, look at what else we could do. We were not able to do that, and council did pass an agreement with an organization to help run this shelter. So it will be going there. I will say that, our Office of Homelessness Prevention and Intervention, and also housing advocacy, did respond to some concerns by local businesses about the location of the entrance, et cetera. So the entrance will be off of Versailles Road, and people can access that from there. So that is what is going on. At the same time, the city did a study to look at the inventory of what is needed in terms of shelter beds or temporary housing or transitional housing in Lexington. So that has happened. And then from there, formal recommendations will come to council about what are the next steps, what are options that we could take as a city, or encouraging other groups to kind of fill some gaps that we currently have.
Mm-hmm. And what else can you tell us about what you've been doing at the council?
Well, lots going on. One thing that I've been working on with several other council members is a ordinance addressing recovery residences. Those are also previously known as sober living houses. Those are houses run by an organization to provide housing for those that have dealt with substance use disorder and are in recovery, is to provide them a sober place to live. And we have a lot of these residences in town. I know I have quite a few in my neighborhood. And the state is now regulating them. So that's kind of newer, that everybody who runs one has to be permitted through an organization through the state. So we just want to update our local ordinance to make it match the state ordinance. We want to make sure that everyone knows who to contact if there's issues with the house and things like that. A lot of folks get concerned about these recovery residences. We had a public input session a few months ago about this, and really, you cannot discriminate. So these people are considered a protective class. So up to 8 people that are not related can live in a house together, whereas normally it would be 4 people that are unrelated. And just because there's 8 people living in a house, or there's a lot of activity, or people are coming in and out, doesn't mean that they're doing anything wrong. And we cannot discriminate and, post their address or anything like that. But we can keep track of where they are. We can make sure that if something illegal is, happening, that the police find out. We can make sure the tenants know their rights that live there, that they can't just get kicked out at a moment's notice. Lots of things like that. So next week, we'll be presenting in the Social Services and Public Safety Committee. We'll be presenting an update to that local ordinance for us. And then one very interesting item, we receive complaints from our constituents about various things. And over the years, I have received complaints about roosters, just the noise, having so many of them inside the urban service boundary. And so another Councilmember Beasley, was getting those type of complaints as well. And so she put forward an ordinance saying that goes along with our already local ordinance, that people can only have one rooster inside the urban service boundary. So you're still allowed to have one, but just one. Many cities ban them completely. This is a noise issue more than anything else, and pertains to our ordinance in that way. And so, a lot of people have roosters to fight them. That is completely illegal. We realize you might have roosters now if they're not bothering anyone, as long as, you don't get more. And we try to keep the amount to 1 per household, then we will be good. We know a lot of people have chickens and things inside the boundary, but we don't need to have a farm next door in an urban setting. So.
Well, unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for now. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us?
I don't think so. Today in the Environmental Quality and Public Works, an item that I've been working on about maintenance is going to come up, and I'm really excited about that. We're going to start using a maintenance guide for all of our infrastructure projects that will point people and the divisions in the right direction and know who is in charge of what, so that to maintain our wonderful projects that we do, that they will be maintained properly, and everyone will know whose responsibility it is to to keep track of different things like trees and fences and banner poles. And so, it sounds boring, but I'm excited about it.
No, it sounds very essential to me.
Well, I'm glad that it is finally happening.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for being with us today, and I'll see you next time for a new update.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Don't forget, you're listening to Radio Lex, the voice of the people, WLXU 93.9 LPFM in Lexington, Kentucky.